The New York Times is admitting to the extensive long-term damage of the pandemic lockdowns on school children and their learning. This is from March 2024, just a couple of months back. Now, we knew all of this was happening. Children were committing suicide. This was another, we're off of the vaccine itself. We're off of the disease itself. Now we're talking about the effect of the damn lockdowns that were insanity.
Yes.
Children as young as 12, 13 years old were committing suicide because they were so depressed because they're at that age where they're just starting to, life is, hey, neat new toy. And turn it off.
Yeah.
Can't even go see their friends.
Yep. And listen, isolation is a form of torture.
Yes. It's used in prisons to punish.
Yes.
Yep.
So we indirectly punished a whole generation of young people out there needlessly, in my opinion.
Yes. And took away from many of them life experiences that in our culture are very important. That first driver's license.
Yes.
That first school dance. The high school graduation. These are, in our culture, these are important cultural events that every kid looks forward to.
Yep.
So psychologically, the scarring is tremendous.
They completely shut down kids' parks. They wrapped caution tape all around the equipment. And if you even thought about stepping onto that, someone somewhere was going to call the police on you. And the police may or may not have used force to remove you from taking your kid to the park.
There were several instances of that.
Yes, there was.
There were several instances.
I still love the guy on the beach who outran the cops.
That was fantastic. The cop's like, So 4 years after politicians shut down schools, let me say that to you again. 4 years after politicians shut down schools, not doctors, not medical professionals, not anybody who knew what they were talking about. 4 years after politicians shut down schools, the New York Times published a new analysis on Monday admitting that there is a broad acknowledgement among many public health and education experts that the school closures significantly harmed children despite not stopping the spread of the Coof.
Yeah.
There should be lawsuits across the nation directed at these politicians for what they've done to our children. The psychological scarring is off the chain. I've seen some of the results. My own kid lost a friend because they were so bored that they went to a hotel in Pontiac, scored some freaking smack, and shot up.
Yeah.
And a 17-year-old little girl that had been in my home and eaten dinner at my table is gone because of this. Relying on the most recent data about pandemic learning loss, the Times drew several conclusions about why school closures were bad policy. First, the Times found that students were kept out of school longer, relegated to remote or hybrid learning, fell behind further academically than students who returned to the classroom earlier. These academic losses have been near impossible to overcome. You've rewired these children's brains psychologically.
Correct.
They're in that learning rate when they're young.
Well, they're sponges.
Yes.
Like literally, you could just walk. When you're a kid, you walk in the room, you learn everything.
Yes. And that's why I'm calling this psychological scarring. Yeah. Scar tissue can't pick anything up.
Well, here's the thing: is you have a very limited window when you're young to learn like that.
Yes.
All right. So this went on for like 2.5 years.
2.5 years.
Roughly. That's huge. From 10 years old to 18. That's only 8 years. You really took like 25-30% of that time away from those young people's minds to develop properly.
Yes.
That's what he's trying to say here.
Tremendous amount of damage.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a tremendous amount.
And it's going to be very hard to undo that if you can at all.
Yeah. Second, the so-called newspaper of record, the New York Times, found that students in lower socioeconomic backgrounds experienced steeper learning losses than students from more affluent backgrounds. 2 points here. First of all, the lower socioeconomic backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
We know they're talking about the inner city.
Single mothers.
Mostly single mothers. Those schools are already just expensive daycare facilities.
Correct.
Second point, the students from more affluent backgrounds, I happen to know for a fact that a lot of those kids were still going to school anyway because their parents had the money to make that stuff happen.
Yeah.
At the Sonoma Valley or Wilshire, Hollywood, Malibu, all of those places. They were quietly still doing whatever they wanted to do.
Well, here's another
There
thing.
were videos of it all over the internet.
Well, another one the affluent places were doing was they would take like 10 or 15 kids, bring them together, get a tutor or a teacher come in to teach those kids.
Yes.
Because I'm going to be honest, I need to actually go to a brick and mortar place and sit at a desk to learn shit, or I need to have my hands on stuff. I can't sit in front of a screen, have somebody talk to me, and then be able to regurgitate. That's not me, man. My dyslexicist, it's just getting in the way.
I'm a hybrid learner. I require the same stuff you need, but I can still get some stuff from a screen.
Yeah, I can't do it.
It's a hybrid thing with
Smurf my balls
for the hands-on.
It's not happening.
Smurf your own balls.
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
So one of the other things that happened was a lot of the teachers liked these lockdowns because they were still getting paid.
And they got to stay home.
And they sat at home, and some of them were caught masturbating on camera.
Yeah.
Some of them were sitting around in their pajamas. A couple of them were caught like blatantly drinking. The teachers basically are scum. Most of our academic institutions need to be completely hosed out.
Yeah, you're right.
And gotten rid of.
There's a bunch of teachers out. That's a whole other show.
It is a whole other show.
We could rip into the education farce that's been going on for the past 20 years.
Write that down. That's one
education
that
farce
should be thrown into the
mix.
The mix somewhere. This is notable because poor districts were also more likely to stay remote for longer. What did I just say?
Yep.
The Times reported, explaining that the country's largest poor school districts are located in Democrat-controlled cities that use heavy-handed approaches to the pandemic.
Shitholes.
Yes. Third, the Times found that short-term school closures did not exempt students from learning loss and other significant problems. Many schools are seeing more anxiety and behavioral outbursts among students. Gosh, I wonder why.
Yeah.
Chronic absenteeism from school has surged across demographic groups. We used to call this skipping school. I skipped school quite a bit, actually. I was a bad kid. These are signs, experts say, that even short-term closures and the pandemic more broadly had lasting effects on the culture of education. The kicker is that the politicians subjected students to these harms despite a clear lack of evidence proving that school closures slowed the spread of COVID-19. Again, I'm not going to read the entire article.
Again,
you've got the basic gist here.
What we're trying to say here is we have talking heads and individuals who are supposed to represent us, but they're trying to command us with these mandates that they put upon us.
Yes.
All right. Now, without any scientific evidence, no historical success models to pull from, they just literally pulled this entire thing right out of their asses.
Yes. They have admitted that since.
Yes.
I tried to find some of those articles, but
this is the part that really pisses me off. Now, it's been 4 years plus. They're saying, well, we didn't know, and we should just let bygones be. No, go fuck yourself. You need to get sued into the goddamn Stone Age. I hope you're never forgiven, and you live to the age of 102, stricken with bone cancer, you pieces of shit. All right.
Watch Grunt Speak live every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to join Pop for Supporters Sundays, go to redonkulous.com/donate and make a monthly pledge. A link is in the Meat Gazer box.